Chapter 1. Forced to marry my brother's best friend, written by author S.M.spezzano. 14 years ago. Jennifer stood at the front door of her brother's best friend's house. Well, technically it wasn't just her brother's friend's house. Their families were friends. That's actually how her brother, James, became best friends with Sean. The friendship between the Greys and the O'Connors went back decades. Both of their families came from old money, but the O'Connors had held on to their money a little better than the Greys had. Jennifer's great-grandfather had lost much of their family fortune to bad investments, and her grandfather lost even more to his gambling habit. Regardless of this, the families had remained friends, so while Jennifer and her family didn't live in a mansion or have drivers or servants, her father James Sr. and Sean's father Tim had remained good friends, as their fathers were before them. Jennifer's grandfather had since passed, but Sean's was still alive and loved to regale them with stories about their wild days growing up. She waited anxiously for their butler to open the door so they could start their yearly Christmas party. Jennifer loved coming to their house. Really, she loved any reason to be around Sean. She had had a crush on him for as long as she could remember. Being 10, that might not have been very long, but she had a big crush regardless.
"Good evening. Please come in,"
their butler said as he answered the door. She was pretty sure his name was Alex, but she couldn't remember. He brought them into the large sitting room where Sean, along with his parents Tim and Grace, were waiting for them. Her brother James immediately went over to where Sean was sitting, and they started talking about their upcoming graduation and college next year. Tim and Grace walked over and started talking with her parents, James and Sophia. So Jennifer walked over to her brother and sat down beside him.
"Hey Jenny girl, how's school going?"
Sean asked her. He always made sure to include her in their conversations since she didn't really have anyone to talk to.
"It's good. I can't wait for summer break though."
"Best part of the school year if you ask me,"
her brother responded.
"Yeah, I can't wait to get away from some of those boys in my class."
"Why's that?"
Sean and James asked at the same time.
"Because they're mean to me. They like to pull my hair and push me when we go outside."
"What? Who's doing that to you? Why didn't you tell us?"
her brother asked her, sounding rather angry.
"I'm sorry,"
she whispered out. She hadn't wanted to get anyone in trouble, and she knew her brother would be mad if he knew.
"Why didn't you tell James, Jenny?"
She loved it when Sean called her that. He was the only one that did. Everyone else just called her Jen or Jennifer.
"I didn't want anyone to get in trouble. I thought maybe they would stop being mean next year."
"Well, that doesn't always happen, and you shouldn't have to put up with that shit. Tell me who's bullying you and I'll take care of it."
"We'll take care of it,"
Sean added as he fist bumped her brother.
"Okay, that would be good, thanks guys."
"What are big brothers for?"
Sean said with a wink. She knew that Sean thought of her as a sister. Sometimes he seemed to think of her as an annoying sister, which was much worse. She was hoping he wouldn't think of her like that forever. As their night went on, they had dinner, played games, opened presents, and watched It's a Wonderful Life. Sean and James had included her in everything they did. It was one of the best nights of her life. As they said their goodbyes and got ready to leave, Jennifer had no idea that what had been the best night of her life was about to turn into the worst. Chapter 2. Today. Jennifer woke up before her alarm went off for the day. It took her a minute to realize what had woken her up before she remembered the nightmares she was having that must have woken her. She didn't have them often anymore, but before big events like Christmas or her birthday, which happened to be today, the nightmares tended to come back. Her therapist had assured her that it wasn't strange and it didn't mean she was regressing. Rather, the importance surrounding these moments made her think back to the night she lost everything. Well, almost everything. James was still with her. His face had been badly burned and scarred, and sometimes she felt like she was losing him when he sank into a depression. But he always came back. He promised he wouldn't leave her to. Today was her 24th birthday. She should be getting a phone call from her parents. She should be celebrating with cookies from her favorite bakery and spaghetti and meatballs like she chose for her dinner and dessert every year. But that wouldn't be happening this year. It hadn't happened since her parents were taken from her in a car crash that irrevocably changed her and James' lives forever. She missed her parents every day, but she was thankful that she had James, and that together they had the O'Connors. After the accident on Christmas 14 years ago, the O'Connors had taken them in. James lived with them for a short time before he got his own apartment with Sean near campus. After graduation, they had moved to an apartment closer to downtown and the O'Connor office buildings where they both now worked, although Sean was training to take over as the CEO and James worked as the head of accounting. Jennifer had stayed with the O'Connors until she started college. She graduated 3 years ago with a degree in the baking and pastry arts and had been working as the pastry chef at a local restaurant, but was saving up to lease her own storefront. Grace and Tim had offered numerous times to give her the money, but Jennifer and her brother had never wanted to take anything from them. Neither of them wanted to feel like they were taking advantage of the family that had taken them in and treated them as their own. They also had enough money from the insurance company, life insurance, and a small inheritance each to pay their way through college and rent their apartments. Jennifer knew that James was making decent money now, so he might not have had to dip into his inheritance as much, but she used her money to support herself while she looked for a job after college. She had about left, but she didn't want to use that to start her shop. She wanted to save that in her emergency fund in case anything catastrophic happened to her again. Since she was already up, she decided to get started on her day. She had the day of, so she had planned to meet up with her friend Bianca for brunch later, and her brother promised to come over for dinner tonight. She wasn't quite looking forward to that. Well, she was, but she knew he would most likely bring Sean and he would most likely bring his new girlfriend. She had never quite gotten over her crush on him. They hadn't spent as much time together after the accident as he headed off to college, then moved closer to the city, but he was still around for the holidays and all of their birthdays. Even now that she lived in the city, she rarely saw him unless James was coming to see her and brought him. She still felt like he just looked at her like a child, and she always hated meeting his slew of girlfriends. He was a serial dater and one of the most eligible bachelors in the city, so he was never hurting for female company. Her phone started to ring and she picked up without looking to see who it was, as she figured she already knew. And when the voice on the other end started talking, she knew she was right. "Good morning, sweet girl. What are you doing up so early on your day of?" Grace asked.
I couldn't sleep, but if I was sleeping your call would probably have woken me up.
Jennifer chuckled at Grace as she answered her.
Oh, silly me. I just always assume everyone has their phones on silent when they are sleeping, and I wanted you to wake up to a birthday message. I guess it's okay since you're already up. Do you have plans today?
I do. I'm going out to brunch with Bianca in a few hours, and then James and I assume Sean are coming over for dinner tonight.
Oh, that sounds lovely. What about this weekend? Do you have any plans?
Nope, just work. I'm working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I should be out around 2 each day.
Oh, perfect. How would you like to come over on Saturday for a little birthday celebration? I will invite the boys to come so maybe they can pick you up on the way.
That sounds perfect, Grace. I'd love to come over. It's been a couple months since I've seen you and Tim. I've just been so busy I haven't had a chance to get back there.
Oh, don't worry about that. You three are living your lives. I know you see James and Sean a bit, but Tim has been going to the city less as he trains Sean to take over the CEO position, so it would make sense you haven't seen him in a bit either. And I think Sean has a new girlfriend he's pretty serious about because they are always together, and he mentioned maybe having us meet her.
He wanted his parents to meet his new girlfriend. She had no right to be jealous. Sean had no idea she had a crush on him, but it hurt her to think of him being so serious with someone. She had always thought that his flings would end and she could get him to notice her one day, but now she wasn't so sure.
Jennifer, honey, are you still there?
Yes, sorry I'm here. That sounds great. I'll call James and coordinate with him for this weekend.
Perfect. See you Saturday.
See you then. Bye, Grace.
Chapter 3. Sean got up early, like he did every day, to get in a workout before heading to the office. He checked his phone to see that he had a message from his girlfriend, Phoebe, about going out tonight. He was about to confirm their plans when he remembered it was Jenny's birthday, and he had promised James he would go to her place to celebrate with the two of them. As much as he loved James and as much of a soft spot as he had for Jenny, after having grown up with her, he would really have preferred to go out with Phoebe tonight. Things between them were starting to get serious and he had even brought up the idea of her meeting his parents. Just as he was about to text James and see if he could bail on tonight, he got a call from his mother.
Hey Mom, what's going on?
He answered.
Hi baby, not much. I just got off the phone with Jenny. She said you and James were going over there tonight to celebrate her birthday with her. That's so very sweet of you boys.
Oh yeah, I think that's what was planned, but I'm not sure if I can still make it.
Oh, that's too bad. She sounded excited about the company. I was calling to see if you and James would be able to bring her to the house on Saturday for a birthday dinner with all of us. So I guess if you can't make it tonight, you can make it up to her then.
Oh, that would be perfect, thanks Mom. Would you mind if Phoebe comes along as well?
Oh no. Not all. I know you've mentioned bringing her around here. I would love to meet her.
Okay, great. I was just getting ready to go for a run, so why don't I let you go so I can call James first and settle our plans for this weekend?
Sounds good, honey. I'll see you Saturday. Give Jenny a big hug from me if you do decide to go see her tonight.
Will do. Love you, Mom.
Love you to Sean.
As soon as he hung up, he texted James, figuring he probably wouldn't be up yet, and let him know about his change of plans for tonight. But he asked if they could go to his parents' house for dinner on Saturday instead. He texted Phoebe to confirm their plans for tonight and then headed out for his run. In the middle of his run he was almost knocked right over as something barreled into the side of him. He managed to stay upright, but he was pretty annoyed. There was almost never anyone running through the park at this time of the morning. It was one of the reasons he loved this time, the solitude.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
He heard from the person who had almost knocked him down. He hadn't looked at their face yet because they had actually fallen, having bounced off of him and onto the ground. Finally, they turned around and he was surprised to see that it was actually Jenny that had almost plowed him down.
Jenny,
he said, shocked and feeling a little more annoyed at the fact that she was out here running this early all alone.
what the fuck are you doing running around out here by yourself?
He snarled at her as he reached down to grab her hand.
Hello to you two.
She snaked at him.
I don't usually run this early, but I figured since we were all going out tonight, I wouldn't have much time later to go run.
So you got up early to go for a run?
He asked her, not quite believing her since he knew how strong her aversion to cardio was.
Well no, I actually woke up because I had a bad dream. And then Grace called and I was already up, so I figured it would be good to clear my head and get some fresh air. Clearly I was mistaken,
she said, giving him a pointed look, no doubt because of the way he was speaking to her. But she had to know it wasn't smart for her to be out and about running right now.
Clearly,
he drawled.
Seeing as you ran right into someone, you really shouldn't be running alone in the mornings, Jenny, especially when you aren't paying any attention to your surroundings. Do you have any idea what could happen to you out here?
He knew exactly what could happen to a girl like Jenny. Although that was the problem, wasn't it? Jenny was no longer a girl, she was a woman. An incredibly stunning woman if he was being honest with himself. Of course he had noticed how she grew into herself as she got older, but as someone who he had grown up with, who annoyed him to high heaven, and who was his best friend's sister, he tried not to notice those things about her.
I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself, thanks,
she retorted.
Anyway, do you know where you guys are taking me tonight? I asked Bianca if she wanted to come too. I'm pretty sure she has a crush on James. I'm super excited. I haven't gone out in so long, and you guys know the best bars.
Oh shit, he hadn't planned on having to tell her to her face he wasn't going out with her tonight. Actually, he hadn't planned on having to tell her at all. He was hoping that James would just do it tonight.
Yeah, about tonight,
he started, and almost walked back what he was about to say as she began to look crestfallen.
You're not going out with us, are you?
Yeah, listen, I totally forgot I have a date, but James will still be there and we're going to bring you to my parents' house on Saturday, so I'll get to celebrate with you then.
He wasn't sure why she suddenly looked so sad. It was one night he wouldn't be able to go out with her. She would still have plenty of fun with her brother and Bianca.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Look, I have to go. I'll see you Saturday, I guess.
Come on, Jenny, don't be like that.
Be like what?
She asked him.
All annoyed that you're not getting what you want. It's one night and you will still have fun with James and Bianca, and then I'll see you on Saturday.
You're kind of an asshole, you know that? I understand it's one night, but this one night happens to be my birthday and I was looking forward to spending it with James, Bianca, and you, and you're ditching me to hang out with some chick you met like 2 months ago. You've known me basically my whole life. And no, we won't have fun and you know it. James only goes to these places when you're there too, and since you won't be coming I'm sure he'll still drag himself along but will sit hiding himself away in the shadows, while I feel guilty about making him come out when I know how insecure he is despite the fact that I still think he's as handsome as ever, and so does Bianca if he just stopped being too stubborn to see it. So please don't stand there and act like I'm the one behaving like a brat when you're the one ditching your best friend and me for a girl you barely know. But like I said, it's fine. I'll see you and James on Saturday and we'll just change our plans and do something more at James' comfort level. Have a nice run.
What the actual fuck, he thought to himself as he watched her run away. He really didn't see her as much as he used to, and when he did she never spoke to him like that. He wasn't sure what twilight zone he had just run into, but he didn't like it. He didn't like that she seemed so disappointed in him, or that she was changing her birthday plans because of him. But she was wrong about Phoebe. She wasn't some girl he barely knew. Maybe they hadn't known each other for very long, but as soon as he met her he knew she was the woman he was going to marry. So what if it pissed Jenny off that he wasn't spending tonight with her? He would still be spending the day celebrating with her on Saturday, although he was starting to think maybe Phoebe shouldn't come. No screw that he was bringing her. He finished up his run, went home, and got ready for work. He was sure the rest of the week would pass by quickly, and even though the point of going to his parents' house this weekend was to celebrate Jenny's birthday, he couldn't wait to introduce Phoebe to everyone.